Welcome to the Gold Medal Girls podcast. I'm your host, Delaney Thibodeau. Gold Medal Girls is all about sharing the experiences of women in sports, including athletes, coaches, trainers, sports psychologists, executives, and tons more. We're here to promote these amazing people to build more and more support for women in sports. Be sure to listen as episodes will drop every other Tuesday, and I'll be interviewing a woman in athletics so we can learn more about their lives and amplify their voices. I hope you're as excited as I am to hear what they have to say. And without further ado, let's get into the episode. To episode 6 of Gold Medal Girls. So exciting to be here. And with this one, I wanted to try something a little bit different with the next couple episodes. So instead of having one kind of long episode, they'll be broken up into probably 2 parts. I personally prefer a longer podcast, but I'm curious to see what other people like. So let me know what you prefer. But this episode was really exciting to record, and I'm really, really grateful to have had the chance to chat with Jacqueline Madogo. She's had such a cool journey through sports so far. So Jacqueline played soccer at the University of Guelph, and she was also on their track team. She was a back-to-back national champion in the 60-meter race in 2022 and in 2023. And then in 2024, Jacqueline made her Olympic debut in Paris, where she competed in the women's 100 and 200-meter sprints, as well as the 4x100 relay. Her relay team took 6th at the Olympics in Paris, and then she also competed in both the 200-meter sprint and 4x100 relay again in the 2025 World Championships held in Tokyo. She's just such an incredible athlete, and it was such a treat to talk to her. And without further ado, here's part 1 of my interview with Jacqueline Madogo. So Jacqueline Madogo, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm super excited for our conversation.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. And we'll just get kind of right into things. But what's the first experience that you remember of playing a sport?
I think my first memory of like doing any sort of sport is just playing with my siblings and my parents in the backyard, just like kicking a soccer ball. Most of my siblings and I, we played soccer. So that was like the first memory. And another one that's like a core memory is we used to live by the beach, and my siblings and I, we used to all run cross country. And my dad, before going to work and before we went to school, during cross country season, we would go and run with him to like by the beach.
Oh,
So
wow.
that was like my first exposure, and like it was crazy because I used to run like with him and then like do my cross country training at school. And
It's a
that was like
lot.
that is a lot. And like looking back, I'm like, why did I do that? But it was just like my 2 older siblings and I, we would just like he would wake us up and we'd go run and then come back and get ready for school. And then we had cross country training like later on that day. But yeah.
Wow. That's nice, like family quality time, though.
Yeah, exactly. So it was nice.
Yeah. Were you really close with your siblings, or like, are you still?
Yeah, like we're all really close in age. So we've always been pretty close. And like now that I live away, like most of them are back in Ottawa now. So it's kind of hard for me to like go back home with training and everything. But we have our group chat, our family group chat, our siblings group chat that are going.
Nice.
So they definitely keep me updated on things because I'm not home. But yeah, we are definitely close.
Oh, that's amazing. That's how I am with my sister. She and I call each other a lot, and then we'll do like a family like group catch up call every once in a while because my family, I don't live near them either. And
Mhm.
you gotta make those connections as best you
Yeah,
can, you
thank
know?
God for FaceTime.
Honestly, yeah. And now that there's like all the filters and like fun things you can like
Yeah.
do over, oh my God, we are all menaces in the in the FaceTime. But so growing up, sounds like you've always been pretty active with sports. What were your favorite parts of those sports when you were little?
I think growing up and playing soccer, it was always like I hung out with my friends. Like I saw my soccer teammates a lot more than I saw my like school friends because like we would travel a lot. Like we would be out of school sometimes like Thursday through Sunday, and we just like get on a bus and like go to Toronto and play the weekend there. Those are like core memories that I remember, and I think it was just like a sense of like community and belonging that I got aside from like my own family and like
Mm.
other groups that I participated in, such as like church and like extracurriculars. So this is like we were bonded over sport, and like we all have like similar like goal. It was like obviously to win a certain championship or win games. So that was one of the things that I loved about my childhood and like growing up playing sports.
Nice. Do you feel like there were any like big takeaways from like playing sports growing up that then you kind of apply now as an adult?
Yeah, of course. I got to like obviously like in a team, especially like when you're younger and you're growing up and teenage girls, you get to like experience different personalities and how to deal with different personalities. And although I wasn't super close with everyone on the team, I was very friendly with everyone, even though we weren't super close. So everyone had their people, and like even in a work environment, as of like now these days, like I went to university and like same thing, like I played on the university team and like I wasn't super close with everyone, but all the girls were I thought were really nice, and like vice versa. So it's a good balance of like knowing how to deal with different personalities, how different minds, and how people operate, which is has taught me so much. I can walk into any room and like be comfortable and like talk to anyone, which makes doing team sports a little bit easier in my case.
Yeah. And yeah, we're like teenage girls in particular, like you get competitive teenage girls in a room and it's like that
Yeah.
energy is really you got to be careful in that context for sure.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, totally. And so, it sounds like you've been running your whole life basically. What is it about running that you've just kept with it this whole time?
I did cross country and like track days in elementary school, but once I hit grade 7, I was like I didn't really like I never did track outside of school. But grade 7 was when completely stopped doing track and field, and I just like focused on soccer. Soccer took off and like it was really busy. I didn't really have time to do any other sports
Mhm.
outside of school, and like um and I really, really loved soccer. So I was like totally fine just like doing soccer and focusing. And
Yeah.
then fast forward like my grade 11 year, my friend and I actually because I didn't get to see a lot of my school friends outside of school. So they were like, oh my God, let's go and do track. Like anyone could kind of join our track team. Like we didn't have a big team. So
Okay.
I was like, okay, yeah, let's go. So like that was a way for us to kind of like hang out, and like I did not take it seriously. I was kind of just there and like doing whatever. And we started competing, and like I started like it was going really well to the point where like I ended up at OFSA, and I wasn't supposed to end up at OFSA, which is like the provincial championship
Okay.
um in Ontario. And I wasn't supposed to medal. I medaled somehow. So like it was just like this thing that went from like, oh my God, let's do something together so we can hang out after school. And
Mm,
then I'm medaling at the provincial championship. And I was
wow.
like, oh, okay. Like
Like, wait a
I
second.
yeah, this might be a fluke. But then that was the only year I did high school track was grade 11. And then grade 12, like I was really busy just with like school, and like I was taking a lot of visits to universities for soccer. Like I really wanted to play soccer in university. I really wanted to commit somewhere. So like really busy. So I was like, no, I'm not going to do track, and kind of like put it to the side. And I was like, that was just like a one-off thing. Um, I was like a soccer girl through and through.
Yeah. Do you think like with the medaling at provincials, do you think there was something about kind of the approach that you took of like, this is just for fun, I'm just hanging out with my friends? Like, do you think there was something about the maybe difference in competitive attitude that you had towards it that helped?
I think so. I didn't really care. Like, I was like, I would just go to track practice after school, and like my parents would pick me up with my soccer bag in the back. And I was like, yeah, okay, let's go to soccer now. I was just like, I was kind of like goofing a little bit, and like I was definitely not serious about it. Um, But when we got to like EASA, which is like the meet before qualifying for OFSA, then that's the meet that qualifies you for OFSA.
Mhm.
And my track coach, who's like also a gym coach at my high school, she was like, you do realize like you're one race away from going to OFSA. And I was like, oh, okay,
Ooh.
cool. And like I had like also like never used blocks before. I had like no experience. I was running in like distance shoes. Also, like
Okay.
it was yeah, it was just like not a serious thing. Looking back, I'm just like, yeah, that was definitely a fluke that I medaled.
Yeah. So when you started with track, did you start in sprinting or did you start with other events?
Yeah, like obviously in elementary school I did cross country in the
Oh,
fall, and
yeah.
then later we did like school track, which is like I did sprints, but I knew I was like always a sprinter. Like even on the soccer field, like I
Yeah.
was like usually one of the fastest, and I was like I knew like I would never do any distance running. I ran the 400 one time in elementary school at like track day, and like my parents were there and I crossed the finish line. I just started bawling, and I was
Oh
just
no.
because like I hated it so much, and I was like,
Yeah.
from that day on, I knew like, yeah, anything above the 200, I'm not doing.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, and it's still like 200 meters is still like pretty far. Like it's, for a sprint, like that's not like it's twice as long as the 100. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like it still requires a lot out of you. So,
exactly. But
yeah.
it's less than the four, so I'm okay with that.
Yeah. And then when you started looking at universities, what was that process like of
Um,
again, you were looking for soccer.
Yeah, so it started like I started like in grade 11. A lot of people on my team started in grade 11, or even like some people started in grade 10.
Mm,
But I really started in grade 11, getting a little bit more traction. We did a lot of tournaments in the States.
okay.
So originally, like I wanted to go to the NCAA, play Division One, and had a couple of offers to go and play Division One, and ultimately I decided to stay in Canada. I think it was just a good decision. I'm really close to my family, and I wanted my parents to be able to like come. Although I like came to school at Guelph, they were able to still make the home games. Like my first, I only played on the team for 2 years, but my first year, my dad actually didn't miss a single home game.
Oh,
Yeah, and we played like throughout the season we played 16 games, and I think it was like half and half, or like 8-8. So he didn't miss a single home game, which was like super super like I loved him being there. He's been like a huge part of like the my soccer journey. Like he played soccer, and like my brother and I played soccer, so like him coming my first year was like it meant so much. And then my second year I'm like, just come to like the playoffs. It's okay if you don't come to like every, but he came to a few home games, and like obviously he came to the playoff games, but I was
yeah.
like, you don't need to come to all home games. But he was definitely involved. Like my mom was always involved, but like my dad was very much that like he pushed for our athletic um journeys, like my siblings and I. He was very much involved, came to all the games growing up, and like things like that. So
Wow.
yeah, he's definitely a driving factor. And when we started looking at schools, like he was very much like knew what I would like and what I wouldn't like. Um,
Hmm.
he knew that I needed to stay closer to home. So we're looking more like northern schools, like New York area, and like Michigan area. So it was a very good process, but also a very challenging process, because
Yeah.
just about like if you want to go to the States, you have to write the SATs and ACTs. So like I had to get like tutoring for that, and like just take courses for that. But ultimately deciding to stay in Canada was a great choice. I don't regret it. I also do want to see Canadian sports grow and like be just as good as the NCAA. And like a lot of schools can compete with NCAA schools. So
Yeah.
for me, yeah, that was my decision to stay in Canada, and I think I made the right choice.
Yeah, I mean, even if just for the SAT alone, I took it twice, and because I'm from the States, like I had to take the SAT twice because I wanted to like try and improve my score. I took the ACT, and like, they're just not fun at all, and like
Exactly, exactly.
brutal. And I remember actually, I think I haven't thought about this and probably since it happened, but like the ACT, I remember we took it at school. It was like they had like a big day for it, and it was like pouring down rain, and I remember just like parking, like because I drove to school that year, and like just like even the short walk from the parking lot like into where the exam room was, I was just like soaking wet, like drenched to the bone, and I was just like, none of us are going to do well today. Like this is
Yeah,
not the environment for this. So
yeah.
even if to just avoid those tests, like staying in Canada is a good decision.
Mhm.
And then when you actually got to university, how did you find the balance of being a student athlete and making those priorities work in your favor?
Yeah, so it was definitely a transition period. I'm grateful Guelph has this program called the SAM program, so it's a student athlete mentorship. So all first years student athlete, they're paired with like somebody in a similar program who has taken like similar courses throughout their university career. So like it's either third year, fourth year, fifth year athlete. So I got the chance to like be paired with people for my first year, like first semester and second semester, that had taken similar courses as me. So like they were kind of helping guide that transition, and that helped a lot. And like they gave me so many resources, notes that they had taken previously.
And so when you made the shift in 2020, obviously we all know what happened in 2020 as far as the world going into lockdown and all that kind of stuff. Um, so making that decision kind of, it sounds like maybe right before everything kind of happened or during, yeah. Um, what did that kind of then look like for you? Like you've made this decision to kind of shift gears. And were they running trainings during the pandemic? Were you able to relax a little bit more? Like kind of what was happening for you at that time?
Yeah, so we got shut down in April, and like I had already like decided that I wasn't coming back to soccer, and I was just going to focus on track. So that whole spring and summer was completely off. Like there was no meets, no training. Like we couldn't even train in public parks. Like
Right.
there was just like police and like security everywhere. So I
Ooh,
took that summer like pretty much off and like barely did anything. I was just like living life just like everyone else, like at home.
were
And
you
then,
making a lot of banana bread like a lot of people
oh my God,
were?
I started like baking a lot and like cooking a lot. My mom was like,
Nice.
you need to stop. But then that fall, fortunately enough, like everyone that was part of like this excellence program with our NSO were able to train. So I was able to actually train that fall. Um, and in the winter, we're also allowed to train. So because the Tokyo Olympics, which was supposed to happen in 2020, got moved to 2021.
Hmm.
So that's essentially what we were training for. And I didn't make the team, obviously. But yeah, we were training throughout that year for that. And I was able to compete outdoors. There were a few meets that were organized by Athletics Canada that I was able to compete at. So that was really fun. That was like my first like full year of track, although it was just
Yeah.
like kind of a weird year. Like we spent like a month and a half in Florida during the winter because we can't really train outdoors here. So um,
Right.
yeah, so that was fun. But yeah, it wasn't like I didn't really get the real track experience. So then coming back like the fall of 2021 and 2022, that year was like I would call like my first like real full year of track. Like that year was the world championship year in Eugene, Oregon, and that was my first senior team that I got the chance to participate in for the women's 4x1. So that year was like completely like I started track in September and ended I want to say the in August. Yeah. So it was like a full year.
Full year. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where you were like, for lack of a better term, like hitting your stride as far as like probably getting into the routine of what trainings should be like and the meets
Yeah.
should be
So
like. And
exactly. That was like the first like normal year for like
Mhm.
training and like just competing and like going to meets and like having like Canadian circuit, just like things like that um were really fun and like I had the chance to really get the real track experience.
Mhm. When you had that kind of that real track experience and like doing all these different things, like Was there any part of you that was like, what would I be doing like if I hadn't made this shift? Like, do you ever think about like the
Yeah.
two paths you could have taken?
Yeah, like I feel like I would have probably been playing their the summer that I actually decided to not do track, Guelph had gotten its first like League One team, women's
Mm.
team, which is a semi-pro team. And I got like the coaches at the university were also going to coach that team and they were recruiting and they asked me to play on it. And that's when I had to tell them that I'm not coming back. But I would have probably been playing in that league and played with the girls. Um, but there would have been like a lot less traveling and like seeing the world and like going to different places and like racing in different countries. So those experiences I think would have been different.
Yeah. Where has been your favorite place to compete so far?
Oh my God.
And
I
are there different vibes too of like the different places?
I mean, I can't beat Paris right
Well,
now.
yeah.
I guess, yeah, I can't beat Paris. But if we're just talking a normal track meet, I've competed in Greece, and that was beautiful.
That sounds amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty amazing. That I think that was one. And also, World Relays last year was in the Bahamas. That was also really nice. Yeah.
Yeah, not too shabby places
No,
to be
no,
competing.
no.
That's amazing. And we'll get into Paris in a little bit, but I'm curious about with sprinting just how short the races are. You've got such little room for error. Um, you really need to be I know you say like your mind is blank, but it's obviously you know what your body knows what exactly to do. Do you have a routine for how you get into your headspace for a competition?
Yeah, like when I go to the track, on the bus, like when we're going towards the venue, I'll definitely listen to music. And when I start my warm up jog, and I do like my ground stretching, I'm listening to music. And it's not until I start actually doing my dynamic stuff that, like my A skips and A runs, and that I take off um, my headphones, because at that point I'm like, I think I'm calm enough to like kind of take in the atmosphere. And I
Mhm.
also like when I'm doing those type of stuff, I want to be aware because like at a big championship or like any meet, it's really, really busy around the track.
Yeah.
So I don't want to be one of those people that just is in their own world and not paying attention to other people. So when I start doing my dynamic stuff, like I really like to take it in and really be in the moment and be present, because I think that helps like um, going into like a big stadium or like where there's a lot of fans, a normal track meet that has a lot of fans, it doesn't scare me as much because like there's a lot of noise that happens in the warm up area.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's pretty much my routine. Like I'm not really big on caffeine. I don't drink coffee or anything, but
Mm.
um, yeah. So for me, that's like a no. So like yeah, I just
Yeah.
yeah, I'm pretty chill. I try to stay as chill as possible.
Nice.
Yeah.
So what kind of music are you listening to? I'm very curious as to what people's playlists look like.
I listen to a lot of like, so when I'm leaving the venue, I'm usually listening to like R&B and like soul and like calmer stuff. And then
Hmm.
when I enter like the warm up area, I'll switch it up and just do like classical music and just like something,
Ooh.
yeah, just something super super calm, like or just
Uh-huh.
like instrumental piano. I really like, yeah.
Okay. Do you ever listen to instrumental pop covers is one of the ones that I like to listen to
Oh
when
yes,
I'm
yeah.
working. Yeah. Although sometimes I find that that's almost like it gets like distracting sometimes because even though the words aren't in the song, like I'm
You
still
know
kind
the
of
words.
like I'm still like singing to myself a little bit. That's super interesting though. Yeah, classical music would be really good for just like
Yeah.
centering a little
Yeah,
bit.
I've tried doing like the whole like pump up song, but then it's just like I'm not a big like hyper person, so it like makes me a little bit too like pumped, and I'm just
Yeah.
like I'm like shaking through the roof, so I'm just like, yeah, I need to relax. Like this doesn't really
Yeah.
relax me.
I I I definitely understand that. Like you had said earlier, like I'm also like I tend to be an anxious person more than anything. And as somebody who's already runs anxious, like if I've got too much caffeine in my system and I'm listening to music that's a little bit too much, like I'm like shaking and like bouncing off the walls. And it's like it's energized, but it's not controlled. And that's not
Yeah,
going to be good if it's some kind of performance-based situation.
exactly.
What kind of training do you do for sprinting? Do you spend a lot of time like in the weight room? Or are you primarily on the track?
Yeah,
Um,
so there's like I'll kind of run you through a week in our life. So
yeah,
Monday is like our Excel day. So like Mondays we'll do like a lot of like blocks um and like 1080 we'll use. Tuesdays are tempo days, so that one is lighter. So some people are like if you're on impact, you're on the grass, and if you're non-impact, you're either bike, elliptical, and then we have a swim also on
ooh,
Tuesdays. Yeah.
that's
And then
cool.
yeah, on Wednesdays we do speed endurance. So that's like the big one on Wednesdays. It's like either we're doing a ladder down, so like 250, 200, 150, or like 300, 250, 200. Um, that's like a short sprint one. A long sprint one would be like 350, 300, 250. So like those are like more the 400-meter runners.
Yeah,
Thursdays we only have a swim, so it's like super non-impact, super chill.
yeah,
Fridays another speed day, so Fridays we'll do like fly runs, so like we'll time segments throughout a race. And then Saturdays, depending where we are in the season, so like if we're in the base season, so like in the fall, we'll do another speed endurance session. So like longer runs or like timed runs. And if we're like now, like winter onwards, like Saturdays are usually meet days. So like we're either competing, and then after indoor season, so like now we're kind of in the transition period of indoor and outdoor.
hmm,
So now Saturdays are another like tempo and like lighter day for us.
okay.
Yeah.
And then what's the recovery like from all of that? Because it does sound very demanding, obviously, you know?
Yeah. And we lift on Monday, Wednesday, Fridays right after the
Okay.
track.
Okay.
So recovery is like sleeping a ton. I'm I'm known as like a really bad sleeper,
Mm.
but I got myself an Oura ring 2 years ago.
Okay.
So that's been keeping me very accountable on like sleeping because like honestly like rest is like your best friend like in
Absolutely.
track and field. So my sleep has gotten better. It could be better, but it has gotten better.
Okay.
I'm averaging like 7 hours now
Okay.
of like straight
What were you
sleep.
averaging before?
Oh God. Like on a
Less than
good
that.
day. Yeah, on a good day, like 5.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know if
so
you have this problem. I wake up a lot throughout the night. Like I'm able to fall asleep, but like for me, like I'm a terrible sleeper too, and I wake up every like 2 hours. And like
yeah,
sometimes
like
I wake up and I'm like, oh, I'm ready to start the day. And it's like it's 3 in the morning.
exactly. Exactly. Like I can fall asleep like so fast, like just like this. My
Hmm.
problem is like I'm never in a deep sleep. And
Yeah.
like deep sleep is like basically what you need to recover. And that was my problem. Is like I never got into a deep sleep.
Yeah.
But we've gotten a lot better with the deep sleep, which I've obviously had a lot of help for like from like professionals and like nutrition and things like that. So that's helped a lot too. But yeah, recovery is like your best friend, and like fueling is like super, super important.
Hmm.
You don't want to like under fuel, and you want to be eating the right things for your body to recover. So just knowing what to eat and when to eat it is also important.
Absolutely. What are your favorite things to eat when you're training?
I always look forward to like my post workout snack, which is like my protein bar, my Welch's, my applesauce. Like that's always fun. Like I'm always like, oh my God, yay, training's done. Now I get to
I
eat.
have a friend who's going to be so excited to hear that you like Welch's. That is like her go-to. She loves a
I
Welch.
love Welch's.
I mean, you can't go wrong with them in the applesauce too. And do you ever use the like squeeze pouches of like applesauce? Those ones are
Yeah, yeah.
good.
Those ones are so easy, and like I'll just have them throughout the like workout because also it has sugar in it. So like for energy levels, like I'll just have one throughout practice. Like just
Okay.
yeah.
Very nice. Those are good snacks. That's
Mhm.
exciting. I want to go forward a little bit to 2023, which is when you became the Canadian national champion in the 200-meter sprint at the athletic championships. What was it like leading up to that competition, when you were at the competition, when you won, like just that whole experience? Just walk me through it.
Um, Leading up to that competition was kind of like uh, a lot of stressing moments. I had been having like a really difficult season because I had like a foot injury that was like lingering, and like it was just like not getting better, and like we didn't know what to do because like I had seen so many specialists and nobody could like concretely tell me what it was. Um, so we're doing a lot of like cross training and like a lot of like lighter load stuff to like just maintain. And um the previous year I didn't really have a great national in 2022. I got fourth. That was my first actually senior nationals. So I got fourth in the women's 100, and I think I got like last in the 200. Like I made the final, but I think I got last. And also like I got a heat stroke, so
Oh
that was just
no.
that was just a cherry on top. So it wasn't great.
Oof.
I really had a rough time in 2022. But I was still thankful. I made the relay team to go to Worlds, and um, coming back in 2023, I had been having like an okay season. Um, and then I our provincial at our Athletics Ontario championship is, I don't know what was going on that day, but I was just like, okay, well, I'm already here. Let's just try to like go out with better results than we came in.
Thank you so much, Jacqueline, for joining me on this episode of Gold Medal Girls. So, this will be part one of what will be two parts, with the next episode coming out likely next week. And if you want to follow Jacqueline, you can find her on Instagram at jacqueline.madogo, which I'll also write out into the description. Big thank you again to Josh Halliday for the Gold Medal Girls music. And last but not least, thanks to you for listening to the podcast. Please rate and review the podcast wherever you watch or listen, and give us a follow on social media at goldmedalgirlspod on Instagram and Gold Medal Girls on TikTok. You can also view goldmedalgirls.com for more about the episodes, or send an email to goldmedalgirlspod@gmail.com if you're a woman in sports and would like to be on the show. And I'll see you next time.